that young, very sensitive energy, it's terrified and on high alert against anything, wanting it to change or be different.
We have this automatic narrow perspective because all the fears, right, that we have when we're growing up, it's so narrow. It's like only these sensations, only this part of my life, only this. But the more that you explore the more painful, uncomfortable parts, then your system is more relaxed in general and can shift and change with whatever comes up. And this just leads to a big reduction in suffering in general because part of you, it's like going into a dark room 1,000 times. You know, the first time, the first time it's like, which is what our deepest fears are. The first time it's like, oh my God, but this is scary. Like it's uncomfortable. I don't like this room at all. Second, third time, fourth time, 50th time though, you become extremely familiar with the terrain and you're like, and you can go in there with ease. And actually, eventually, when you make the link that going into that room not only is easier than you thought, it leads to positive changes outside of the room. That's when it becomes much, much easier. So there is like a difficulty, I think, people first getting into it and then just being like, okay, this is why am I looking directly at what pain is right now? This is, I don't like this. But there is that process of, yeah, it illuminates so much. And yeah, you just, yeah, I don't really, can't really explain it much further. But
Yeah. That's what I see too, and that's what I recognize, that anybody who dares put their attention in that direction and explore this, test this out, each and everybody who does that will have the same recognition that both you and I have had at some point.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
and to me, it was the case of a couple of months. I mean, I immediately had some recognition, which put me to
yeah,
wanting to continue this. But the most intensity of fear and suffering out of that fear and internal pain or emotional pain, it was early on. I mean, there are the difficult moments that I have now, a couple of years into the practice, but I can't be as afraid and lost with it as I was early on. And
yeah.
I had the fear that it would be increasingly worse. And I think many people carry it like that because it's
As
from
you
the
went
mind.
into it,
Yeah,
yeah,
from the mind's perspective, if I just keep
mm,
going deeper, it's just going to be increasingly more painful and terrifying, isn't it?
yeah,
But
yeah,
what happens, as you say, going in and out of this room, the 50th time, the 500th times, there is going to be an experiential recognition of that. Hang on, this is not only beneficial to me, like in the sense that it liberates me from that fear and pain by meeting it lovingly and regulating for my system and calming. This goes entirely beyond, for example, nervous system regulation, which just takes care of this body as if it was a separate object to our soul or something. Uh,
mm,
this integrates, and this is where like the blooming flower, like the whole new possibilities, the true transformation happens.
mm.
And that is going to be an experiential and felt recognition in
Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah,
beingness, which means we're not going to lose that. We're not going to forget about that. And
yeah.
that's what I'm interested in with practice. And whenever, I have a client or guiding somebody, all I want is to get them to that recognition because I know
Yeah.
after that point, it's not in my hands, it's not in their hands. Now we have invited life, like the divine source. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And at that point, it's not about someone having an insight based on how they think it should go. On Instagram, on social media, there's all these quotes out there which are like, um, maybe it's about gratitude, about being grateful for life or whatever it is, right? And so often we might read that and be like, oh man, you know what? I'm not grateful right now, or I don't have this insight that's present, right? So we'll then try to recreate that insight and be like, well, you know what? It's time for me to think more positive, or it's time to. But the thing is that insight is the byproduct of all of the steps. And the more that you avoid all of those steps, then the longer that insight is away from you.
Mm.
And but yeah, like you said, it's a total felt sense. If you go into it, I mean, yeah, I'm going to use the room analogy again, but it's like when you go into the room 100 times, the terrain is so unfamiliar. And I feel like this is what making things conscious is. You go into the room and it's like you go, okay, this is here, this is here. And, you know, at first you're getting a kind of an idea of what's in there. Um, and so you come out and you go, okay, that was scary. It was uncomfortable. Um, there was something in there. I'm not sure what it was. And you go back, and actually, it's funny because in the moment you might go, "Oh my god," you know, say you're in the middle of inquiry and meditation, you might notice actually, "Oh, I am really thinking, but I'm worthless and useless," right? But the more that you go into it, you might actually, the insight might be like, "I have actually been thinking this my whole life," and that's when the shift changes because it is a recognition of how much you're carrying it, how long you're carrying it, how much you think about it. And that is an insight that can only happen through direct recognition, direct witnessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, because with unconscious patterns, they're so based in fear, like you said, you know, with the anger that comes out. You didn't see for 20 something years that it was driven by fear. And while it's such a simple word, oh, it's fear. Oh, yeah, like the pain that it caused, the suffering that it caused, you having to go into that and go, this is actually what I'm believing deep down. And I'm sure that would have been painful to see. It wasn't like a beautiful, like it would have ultimately been, like it would have been so freeing to get out of it. But you would have been like, let's go in there, dig this out, and own it. And it's in that ownership that when you go, this is actually me.
Yeah.
This is me. Whereas beforehand, with emotional regulation and all this other stuff, it's like, no, no, I've got to, this isn't me. I'm not angry. I'm not afraid. I'm calm. I'm a calm person. Right.
You know, it's so fascinating, and I love how you put it, because you very accurately describe something that makes me feel and connect to and remember what I've gone through. So it deeply resonates, and I just got a renewed respect for why you keep repeating the importance of turning to what scares you most, what's most painful.
Yeah.
And I just recognize also a slight difference in our different approaches where they become very compatible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I hear you and I admire it. I hear you pointing people to go to the root of your suffering, go to the root center of that pain, go to where actually fear tells you not to go, to quicken their path, to ease their suffering. But because if you don't, you're just going to prolong it. I love that you have that recognition. And what I now see in myself, that why do I keep emphasizing the liberation, the expansion, the new possibilities and everything? It's because I so dearly also want to emphasize um, the value in this. Like,
Mm.
please recognize that this is
Mm.
something, and it's not just something you're gonna have and hold on to. This is going to be your experience as you dare going to what fear resistance most tells you not to go to.